The following stories are inspired by documented paranormal encounters. Some locations and identities may have been changed to protect the people involved. These stories may be disturbing for younger audiences, and listener discretion is advised. This podcast is based on true events. Hi, I'm Brandon, he, him.
Hey, I'm B, she, they.
Hi, I'm Dalia, she, they.
And this podcast is based on true events. Well,
Vibe checks.
vibe checks.
I'm starving.
Yeah?
I want Taco Bell.
Taco Bell does sound phenomenal,
It
don't
does. I want a quesadilla.
Oh, yeah, quesadilla.
Maybe a soft taco and a grilled cheese burrito.
I want one of their beefy loaded beef. Hold on, wait.
I smell like beef.
No, it's the beefy potato griller. There it is. Those are good
like
as shit.
beef. They are
those
really good.
So good.
I love good potato in my taco. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
What's a potato?
Shut
Who
up.
knows? Who knows?
Potato.
Boil them, mash them, put them in a stew. I'm doing good. I'm also kind of hungry. When you were peeing, I ran down and ate a granola bar.
You didn't bring me one?
I didn't.
These hoes ain't loyal.
I didn't think about it until I was already up here.
I'm the one who said I was hungry first. Shame him. Shame in
Yeah.
the comments.
Shame!
That's fair. I deserve that. For sure, I deserve that.
And you took the water.
Yeah, it was my water. I brought it up here.
Least you can do is give me it.
Okay. Here. Catch.
No.
Just fucking chuck it like a football. Here you go.
It's knocked out.
Water goes everywhere. Yeah, I'm feeling that. I'm still hungry though. If there's any consolation.
It's not.
Well.
How about you, B?
I'm finally starting to get hungry, and I'm looking forward to that breakfast crunch wrap sitting in my car.
Breakfast
There's a
crunch
what?
wrap.
There's a breakfast crunch wrap in my car that Brandon got for me before I left this morning.
Cool.
But I don't like to eat first thing in the morning, so it's
Yeah.
sitting in my car. It's going to be nice and warm.
Yeah.
And we'll eat it on the way home. It's going to be great.
Hell yeah. That's what makes me want Taco Bell even more.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Sad that we can't get their breakfast, but yes, I wish it was all day breakfast.
Their
It'd be
breakfast
so
is such a
fucking good.
rare thing for me to get ever.
It's one of my
really
favorite
good.
fast food breakfasts. It's probably my favorite. But
Really?
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, y'all. Was that your vibe check?
Yes.
You ready for your crunch wrap?
I'm
Okay.
finally ready to eat.
Tell us. We got to eat. So you got
Gotcha. So I have two shorter stories today.
Okay.
And this first one is a little. It's one of those encounter ones where there's not like a full setup story. It's just this happened, and I think it's really interesting.
Does the spouse believe their partner?
There's no spouses in this.
Okay.
Just two dudes out in the woods.
Two dudes chilling in a hot tub, 5 feet apart because they're not gay.
Yeah.
I was ripping
Sorry
ass
for
while you were
yelling.
doing that. No, I was ripping ass while that's why my face was like that. It's because I was like ripping ass as you were.
I thought you were
as
trying to remember it, and I'm like, walk in, Dalia, walk in.
No, I was farting. Sorry.
All right. So I call, as told by the show, These Woods Are Haunted. I call this next story Of Dog and Man.
Poetic.
I love it already.
In North Carolina, history teacher Christian McLeod and security guard Daniel Hurst. A lot of security guards in these past 5 episodes.
What's
Every
happening?
single episode, Brandon.
I don't know if it's every single one.
Yes,
Almost.
yes, every single one.
I don't think a lot. No,
I think
last
there was
one.
one that did not.
I think there was one that didn't have a security guard.
Has it been everyone? I thought it was only 4.
Was the one with Dawn? Did that one have a security guard in it? I think that might be the one that didn't.
Well,
Well, no, because they're in jail. No, so they all did. They all had some sort of
they
security
all
guard.
had a security
Yeah,
guard. Yeah,
all of them.
At least one.
Yeah.
I forgot about the jail
That's
one.
crazy.
That's wild. That was more of a warden, though.
Still,
Now-
Same thing.
Okay.
there were
alright,
guards
alright.
in there. I do want to say.
Maybe
So-
we should watch FNAF 2 tonight.
Maybe.
It's good.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I just watched it with Rylan. It's really good.
Sorry, honey.
In North Carolina, history teacher Christian McLeod and security guard Daniel Hurst are a couple of self-proclaimed cryptid investigators that like to follow tales of strange creatures while out on their hunting
You
trips.
could investigate something on that cryptid.
One day, Daniel gets a tip from a fellow hunter about some odd experiences in an area that he had recently hunted in. He described the feeling of being watched and told Daniel about an area of about a square mile radius that he just refused to step foot in. So, intrigued, Christian and Daniel pack up their gear and set off on a little excursion. Excuse me. When the duo do an investigation, they really go all in. They research the area, they bring maps, trail cams, and everything else they can to try to record any kind of evidence. On this particular investigation, they said that things started off pretty easy, but got strange really fast. As they walked down the trail, they started to come across a lot of tree clutter. Tree clutter in a forest, sure. But the weird thing to them is that they would find a lot of chunks of wood that seemed to be taken out of branches, and even down trees themselves that were formed in the shapes of X's, which they found to be kind of strange.
It's not fucking ominous at all.
Maybe a little deliberate. One of the things that they also noticed was a complete lack of animals in the area, which we've talked about a lot on this show.
Yep.
The woods are silent, and they didn't spot a critter anywhere. Now, it is well known that usually this can indicate that the usual prey animals that you'd find in the woods have sensed the presence of an apex predator and have scattered or are staying really quiet. In other words, there's danger in the area. Christian then looks down and notices a massive footprint that they measured to be 21.5 inches long.
Damn.
And around 72 inches away from the first footprint, they find another one. About 2 or 3 miles in, they say that the trees start to change, growing thicker and blocking out more of the sunlight overhead. The path is still there, but it's all overgrown. As they continue along, they start to hear something. Steps nearby that seem to pace alongside them, but nothing they could see. As they reached the area they had been aiming to find, it's almost like they reached a boundary point. The trees spaced out a little more into a sort of clearing that gave the impression that you were stepping into someone's living room almost. Like someone lives here, right? Christian gets the feeling that something is watching them and looks over across the clearing. What he sees makes him stop in his tracks. From behind a tree, a massive 5-fingered hand covered in hair reaches around, its claws digging into the bark. And next to the tree, a beastly face peered out at them, looking like something straight out of a horror movie. Angry-looking blue eyes, a large snout snarling at them with giant canine teeth. Christian believes that he is looking at a cryptid known as a Dogman, which I believe we've discussed in our episode House Hunted, where we talk about that family in that house who got kind of swarmed with them one night. If you've never heard of a Dogman before, though, think of a werewolf that doesn't transform into a human. Just all beast, all the time. Christian whispers to Daniel for him to move slowly behind him as he carefully raises his firearm towards the creature. After Daniel does so, Christian directs him to start moving back towards the tunnel of trees that they had just emerged from. As the two of them slowly back into the trees, the creature they had been keeping their eyes on disappears back into the trees across the clearing. The two men turn and start making their way back along the trail as quickly as the dense trees will allow them. As they do this, they claim to hear the footsteps of something bipedal following them through the trees alongside them. With the trees too dense to properly see through, the duo hurry along, just hoping that whatever it was didn't decide to attack. They're able to make it back to the area where the trees aren't as dense, but still feel watched and followed as they continue their way through the forest. At one point, they come across a deer carcass that looked like it had been mauled by another animal. Not strange to see out in the forest. No. What was strange is what they found nearby. Several pyramid-like structures made from branches, vines, and other kinds of foliage. Spaced out, but all in the same general area as them. They look like something could easily hide inside them. Were these used by the Dogmen to lie in wait for prey like the deer to come before they striked? Before they had a chance to think about too long, the men hear a bark that they described as a sound like a mixture of a huff, a growl, and a bark from nearby. Another grunting sound comes from the opposite side of the first one. Whatever this was, there were two of them, at least. Through the trees in the distance, a flash of black fur. Christian says he can make out a distinct feature of a shoulder and says that the creature could easily have stood around 7 to 8 feet tall. The duo continued to hurry down the trail. The whole time they continued to see glimpses of black dart from behind one tree to another and hear those same barking noises all around them. At one point, they once again saw the creature peeking out at them from behind a nearby tree. Its hairy, clawed hand reaching around the trunk, a pointed ear poking out from behind it as it stared at them. They had had enough. Running full sprint now down the path to the truck they had driven in, the whole way back, they could hear the creatures keeping pace with them. They were so relieved to finally make it back to their cars and dove inside with their backpacks still on. As soon as the truck started, the two peeled off down the road. Christian and Daniel say that it was an experience they would never forget and were thankful to make it out with their lives. So what do you think that the creatures that they saw in those woods were? Do dogmen really exist? Human-like, wolf hybrid creatures that stalk the woods with an intelligence to make hiding places where they can track their prey? And if not, then what really chased these men through those woods that day and made them feel like less of investigators and more like lunch?
That reminds me of my story from the beginning of our session, almost, with
Yeah.
that big black dog.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it was a similar thing or if it really was like a dog man.
So, yeah, it could be. They did mention it being bipedal, and the way that it stood behind a tree, it stood like as tall as a man.
That's 7 to 8 feet.
7 to 8 feet
taller
tall,
than
too,
a man,
yeah.
But yeah.
For sure.
Jesus. See, you had me going in the first half, not gonna lie, because you were talking about like the size of the foot, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you were talking about that, I was like, oh my god, is it Bigfoot? Is it Bigfoot?
Yeah.
And you're wearing your Bigfoot socks and you got your Bigfoot shirt on.
I do have those on, yeah.
And I
can
was
see
like,
how
it's a Bigfoot story. And then
I was waiting for Bigfoot too.
I can see how that
Until
would have, yeah.
You said canine teeth, and I went, "Oh, that's not Bigfoot."
Oh, that's not Bigfoot. That's not Bigfoot at all. Okay, so I got a few pictures for you.
tell him what you told me.
What's up?
Oh, 21 and a half inches. That's how
what?
long Cassie was when she was born.
Really?
So that's a newborn baby. That's how big that fucking foot was, the size of a newborn baby.
Mm-hmm. I
That's
was wondering
crazy.
what y'all were whispering about.
Yeah.
Anything else before we get to the pictures, though?
No.
It's just, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of being out there and having things like, yeah, exactly. So, let us get to, oh shit, what's their name again? It was Christian and what was the other guy's name?
No idea.
All right, well, you guys obviously weren't paying attention during my story.
I was paying attention. I just want Taco Bell.
It was Daniel. It was Daniel.
Damn, Daniel.
I am joking, by the way, because I had to look it up. I forgot completely, and I told the story.
I was gonna say, you wrote the damn thing, and you don't know his name either?
So this first one is of Christian and Daniel. Christian is the one on top, and Daniel is the one on bottom. This is just our normal run-of-the-mill showing you guys who told the story, right?
Yep.
The next pictures are a bit more interesting because in the episode, they did show some of the pictures that they took on their excursion, right? This first one is a couple pictures, top and bottom, of the trees that were placed in X formations that they were talking about.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
Which, like, to me at first could seem like, oh, these are just down trees, but they do almost seem a little bit too, I don't know, you know?
Too parallel, or that's not the word. You get it.
It's too even.
Too
Yeah.
even.
Too neat.
Too neat.
Symmetrical almost.
And there were other things that they were talking about, like the chunks of wood being taken out of branches that they didn't feature pictures of. But I think the idea is that these things might have been using, like these dogmen or whatever, might have been using these as like markers almost. It was really interesting. I wish they had the ability, you know, not being terrified out of their mind, to get a picture of the like the deer blinds or whatever that these creatures seem to have made, because that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Intelligence.
This next one's a little difficult to see a bit because I did have to take photos of these on a TV, and I did fix the contrast a bit to make them a little bit more noticeable. But these are the pictures of the footprints that they talked about that they found. If you're looking at the tape measure, they're always to the right of the tape measure, but you can see like the indents Because of how long they are. They didn't get like the full thing in either of the pictures, but you can, at least in the top one, you can for sure see a bit of the indent a little bit to the right of that. That
I
tape
see it
measure.
on the bottom one too.
Yeah, you can see it. It's that bottom one is actually a lot bigger than I originally thought when I first saw it. Because now I'm seeing it's like nearly the full picture, like extending past it and everything, you know. And then I have one more, and this is what. Hold on, let me make sure I have the artist. This is made by D.A. Roberts. This is an artist depiction of what dogmen are usually described as. So I'm sending that now. Like, they just straight up look like what you would think a werewolf is, right? Mm-hmm. So presumably this thing, like these kind of things are what was chasing these men through the forest.
Damn.
Or keeping... I don't know if we can say they were chasing them or what. It almost sounded like they were curious about them. Because they weren't attacked. They hadn't attacked.
Not full on stalking, but...
They were keeping pace. They weren't trying to hide, really, it didn't seem like.
Yeah.
Trying to get them away from their territory.
Maybe. It's possible,
Maybe they didn't have a craving for human.
Yeah, they were just kind of like, get out of here, that kind of thing. Like, this is our space, you know? Mm-hmm. Making sure they got back and got away.
Didn't come back.
No, for real. But yeah, so that's what I have today for my first story. So for my second story here today, I have... Where is it?
Your mama.
I have less of a cryptid tale and more back to like a ghostly tale, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is another one as told by the show Paranormal 911. And this one I like to call The Connection. Southern Texas, 2017. Hector Zavala and his wife are out. Zavala, I think? Hector Zavala and his wife are out on a drive. Hector says he remembers it as clearly as a picture. A gray car passes them. In that car, 3 dudes look like they're having the time of their lives. You know how it is when you're young. It's payday, and you're out in the town with your buddies. That's the vibe they give off. Hector locks eyes with a smiling dude in the back seat, and they exchange a peace sign. He doesn't think much of it in the moment, and they continue their drive. Not long after, however, Hector's day off with his wife would be cut short by an emergency call from work. You see, Hector is an 8-year Army veteran who now works as a firefighter. And his team had just gotten a call about a car accident, an entrapment, and a 1050, meaning a casualty. As they pull up on the scene, Hector's heart drops as he recognizes the car in the accident as the one with the 3 guys that he had passed earlier. The driver had survived, but the car had spun and hit a telephone pole. The front passenger had died on impact, and the guy in the back, the one Hector had shared a brief moment with on the road earlier, was pinned in between the front driver's seat and the trunk. He was still alive, but just barely. They were able to get him out of the car, and Hector held his neck and tried to make him comfortable as the paramedics arrived and got to work. But no matter what they did, the man's pulse grew weaker and weaker. As he took his last breath, the man and Hector locked eyes once more. In that moment, Hector says he felt as if something moved through him. Hector sees a flash of a gray car as it crashed. The gray car. Feels a hit of pain, and just like that, the man passed away. It was the first ever scene that Hector ever worked where he had watched somebody die. And in his final moments, Hector felt connected to the man in a way that he could not explain. As Hector stood and tried to get back to his job, he had an odd feeling that someone was watching him. As he leaned against his truck catching his breath, he felt like he could see someone standing in the corner of his eye, but as he turned to focus on it, no one was there. He leaves the scene feeling wrong. Understandably so. Later on, back at home, Hector is changing out his work clothes and talking to his wife about the incident, when he realizes that he had forgotten to dispose of his gloves from earlier. In the craziness of that moment, Hector had just shoved them in his pocket, and they still had the man's blood on them. As he goes to dispose of them, Hector is hit by an intense feeling of sadness. Somehow, that night, despite all the things going through his mind, he's finally able to get to sleep, but not for long. Hector wakes up, hyperventilating, and as he gets a heavy feeling of someone being in the room with him and his wife. As he sits up in bed, he sees the form of a man silhouetted in the low light being cast by one of the windows. He quickly turns on his bedside lamp, but the figure is no longer there. Like any former soldier who would also probably do, Hector searches the house, looking for any signs of a man who might have broken into their house, or might have broken in. While he finds nobody, he still can't seem to shake the feeling that someone is in their home. A couple nights later, Hector turns off his bedside lamp and is immediately hit once again by the feeling that someone is in his room. As he looks up, he once again sees a man in his room, but this time, he knows he's wide awake. And what's more, he can clearly make out the man's features. It was the man from the accident, the one who had died in his arms. Night after night, the spirit of this man would appear to Hector at night, just standing in his room. If Hector would turn the lights on, the man would be gone. However, the feeling of not being alone in the room would remain. And the moment the light was off, the image of the man would reappear once again. Hector spends his nights terrified. He could barely sleep. Even if Hector tried to sleep on the chair in the living room, the man from the accident would appear in the room. One of these nights, Hector had had enough, and as the man appeared in the living room with him, staring down at him with a stone-cold look in his eye, looking as mangled as the last time Hector had saw him, Hector yelled at the spirit, "What do you want from me?" The spirit, in response, said nothing, made no movements. After months of dealing with this alone, Hector finally tells his wife about the apparition that had been visiting him. Thankfully, his wife believes him and even suggests that Hector return to the crash site with some flowers for the guy, as a way to make peace. And that's exactly what he did. The pole that the car had crashed into had since become a little memorial for the men who died there, and their families and friends had left flowers and mementos as well. As Hector prayed for the man, he felt a hand on his shoulder. Turning, he actually saw the man standing there. But this time, he looked as Hector had first seen him. No more blood, no more viscera. Through tears, Hector tells the man that it was time for him to go, and that he couldn't follow him home again. Without a word, Hector watched the man turn, start walking, and then fade away. Hector left the flowers on the exact spot where the man had passed away in his arms. He can only speculate why the man's spirit had attached itself to him, but since that day, Hector has not seen the spirit of the man again. And to this day, Hector visits the accident site nearly once a week and continues his important work as a firefighter.
Wow. That's so interesting in the sense that, like, it makes me think of the show Ghost Whisperer.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I don't know, he was confused. He didn't know how to pass on something.
Mm-hmm.
And then by this guy going to the crash site, praying for him, putting the flowers down, it gives the guy the final, like, hey, you're dead.
Yeah.
And he's able to walk away.
Yeah. No, it makes you wonder what, you know, like, it makes you wonder, like, sure, they might have locked eyes, they might have shared a moment, like, earlier on before, but is that really enough to get somebody to follow you? Like, get your spirit to be like, I need to latch onto this? Like, if it is, sure, but, like, it just makes you wonder. Oh, sorry, I kicked my mic. It just makes you wonder what that guy had outside of, like, his friends in that car, you know?
It could also just been confusion of, like,
yeah,
how he died and stuff, and he knows that that man was there when he died, so
for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, hon, that seemed like it was a little heavy for you. Yeah, it's it is a bit heavy. It's really bittersweet, right? Well, I've got a couple pictures.
Okay.
Only a couple. This first one is Hector Zavala himself as he appeared on the episode. I believe he's still a firefighter. Actually, I know he is because of the next picture I'm about to show you. But I just love how he continues to return and like just pay homage to the man at that crash site. That I love that.
Yeah.
I love that a lot. And then my final picture, I just got one more. This is of Hector's like team, his firefighting team. Like this, it really just goes to hammer home that some of these are real stories with people with real lives and shit. You know what I mean? And I believe, if I remember correctly, I may not be remembering, but I was looking it up. I believe he's like a chief in his department right now, which good on him. But no, so that's his team. And that is officially all I have today. Like those are both my stories. Those are all my stories.
Heck yeah. Cool.
Dalia, you're up, I guess.
My throat hurts. I'm sorry. I was holding out.
Yeah.
I was holding back a lot of tears, so my throat hurts.
And seeing you hold back tears, it was getting to me too. I was like, oh man.
Oh, tears came out. Don't get me wrong. But
right, I get you.
Not as much as I could have let out.
True, fair.
It was really. Yeah, it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Very good ending as well.
Yeah, I mean, you probably couldn't ask for better, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so tragic.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna continue kind of the death theme here.
Great.
Kind of, but in a different way.
Okay.
You guys, have you ever been to a funeral home before?
Yes.
Yes, I actually, I used to want to work in one growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I would apply to them. Like, where we last lived, the last town me and you lived in, they had a funeral home there, and I reached out to apply to them, actually, and they never got back to me. But when I was in high school, I applied to one, and they offered me a job to be the guy who went and picked up the bodies. But I would have to be on call all the time, and being in high school, I just wouldn't have been able to leave class to go pick up a dead body, so I had to turn it down, unfortunately.
How cool would that have been, though, to be like in class and be like, guys, I gotta go. Sorry, I gotta go pick up a dead body.
Duty calls, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that it would have been interesting for sure. Like,
yeah, it probably wouldn't. It's probably not legal for you to.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So this next allegedly true encounter is titled "Ghostly Lesson," and it was written by Tempe_Toxic.
Hell yeah!
All right.
Yeah. A little lesson. We're just gonna go right into it, guys.
Yep.
So let's get into it. You know, that whole thing. A little lesson. It is kind of what I feel like my life has become, almost like one of those History Channel specials. Histories, mysteries, haunted history. I feel like, I have a long history with the paranormal, my family included, but since my great-grandmother passed, it seems I am the only one who embraced it instead of treating it like a disease. I guess to understand my ghost stories, we have to go back to the start, back to my start. Funeral homes. They are not just spaces for the dead or Hollywood movies like My Girl. They are real places and real homes. In fact, a funeral home is where I lived the first 4 years of my life. A funeral home is where I was born. A funeral home in Cleveland, Ohio.
Great.
That's too close.
Yeah.
My grandfather and grandmother were thrilled that their 17-year-old daughter was going to be having a baby. They were not like the usual parents. However, my mother did not pick the greatest guy in the world to have a kid with. 9 months passed, and my older sister was born, and her father was kicked out and quickly found himself in prison.
All right.
My mother decided to live with her parents, aka my grandparents, in my grandfather's funeral home. My mother raised my sister there, and soon I was conceived there. It was not long before my father moved in as well.
Sorry, I was taken aback by the fact that
She said conceived.
Yeah, but then I remembered, wait, they live there. Okay. Because who was fucking in a funeral home? Sorry.
It's more likely than you think. It was not long before my father moved in as well. So there they all were living and functioning as a normal family in a very abnormal home. One day, my grandparents decided to go off on a car ride, enjoying their day off. My father went to work at a company called Rollcraft. No idea what they did.
Rollcraft.
And mentor. And my sister headed off to school. She was now age 8. While all alone in the seemingly normal home, my mother went into labor. By the time everyone got home, it was too late. I was a quick comer, they said in parentheses.
Oh, damn.
That's
All right.
what she said.
They took my mother downstairs, and I was born next to a young man named David who had passed away from a car accident just a bit earlier that day.
Great.
Crazy.
Okay.
Lovely.
Crazy. Keep in mind that this is not fiction. This is honestly my life.
Insane lore drop.
Yeah.
For later in life.
Fucking sick.
The basement was split up into 2 sections. The body room and the playroom for me and my sister, where we spent most of the day, took our naps. It was in that room that I had my very first experience that I can remember. At the age of 3, hold on a second, but I'll get to that in a moment. There is a bit more you need to know about my history. On my father's side, there were experienced spiritual members of the Cherokee Indian tribe. On my mother's side, there was a mix of both Hungarian and German gypsies. I think gypsies might be considered not a good word to use.
Correct, yes.
So I do apologize. I'm just reading straight from this.
It'd be like Romani, right? Would that be...
Well, that's a specific region.
Okay.
We'll go with nothing. We'll just skim right over that.
Okay.
Travelers.
Sure.
Actually, yeah, that sounds right. Most every woman in the family on my mother's side had a strong connection to the paranormal world. However, they all treated it like it was something to be ashamed of, a sickness, unholy. My mother had gotten herself blessed at the age of 16 in a Catholic church. Because of this, she swore she was the last. In my sister's years, she's shown not a single sign of the family baggage. Then I was born. My mother once told me when I was old enough to understand what was happening to me that as an infant I would often laugh at the wall or talk to people who were not there in baby gibberish. All the signs that my sister lacked, I obtained. This brings me back to my first experience. Now that you know my history, I guess here lies the first of my ghost stories. The bed in the playroom where my sister and I would sleep was old, or often sleep, not always. Comfortable, but old. The footboard was rotting, and the headboard was completely gone. I remember it clearly, a small space between the mattress and wall. The bed was much taller than I. It took a bit of a climb for me to get in and out. A late bloomer, I still slept with a pacifier despite my mother's efforts to rid me of it. It comforted me, but did damage to my teeth. One day, my sister had gotten permission to stay with a friend, and it was nearing my nap time. I remember my mother picking me up and taking me downstairs. I was lucky in that she was tired also, so I wouldn't be napping alone. We walked down the stairs, and my mother placed me in the bed. Being a tired mother, it didn't take long for my mom to fall asleep, leaving me in the dark to stare at anything I could see. I played with the pacifier between my fingers and felt it slip away from me, down between the mattress and wall. Ever the fearless child, I scooted my head to the crack and peered down to see if I could see my pacifier. But to my horror, all I could see was a bright pair of clear eyes staring back at me.
No.
I yelped for my mother, shook her, but nothing seemed to wake her. I did what most children do when they're scared. I threw my blankets over my head, closed my eyes tight. I waited. Unsure of how much time had passed, I wondered, why hasn't it gotten me yet? I slowly removed the covers just enough to expose my eyes and saw something. A darkly outlined shape on the bed next to me. I reached for it, and there it was, my pacifier sitting right in my hand when it had clearly fallen down. So the pacifier ended up, I know it's worded weird, ended up being on the bed right next to me.
Yeah.
But
I got
she
that.
saw it fall.
Yeah.
So, I suppose I will never know if this was a paranormal experience, the first of many more to come, or if it was a child's imagination. All I know, to be fact, is I laid in that bed until my mother woke. I never napped downstairs again, and from that day on, a child who had never feared the dark formed her fear of not knowing what hides within it. And up until nearly 3 years ago, that fear had not dissipated. Well, that was my history and my first of many ghost stories. I hope you enjoy reading about my life in the paranormal. This seemed much more productive than just a journal. Than a journal. Good
Okay.
night. That was all me. She wrote fine.
I get it.
That was a cool ass fucking story.
Yeah, imagine growing up in a funeral home. Because I was thinking about this during, like, if you grow up in that environment, you're less likely to be afraid of it because you're more recognizing, like, yeah, these are just dead bodies. This is just how it is. I've grown up with this. So, seeing something, for me, it's not like it would have come from, like, this fear that they've had of something getting them, because they're used to this, you know?
Mm-hmm. But the bodies stay on that side of the room.
Yeah, for real.
Not under my bed.
Like, when you were talking about, like, as soon as you said it fell between the cracks, I was like, no, she's going to look down and see eyes. I know it. And it happened. I was like, fuck. Like, damn it. I hate it when I'm right.
I was thinking she was going to stick her arm down into the crack to grab the passy. And
that'd been worse.
Grab her arm.
That'd been worse, honestly.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's,
there was a lot of, there was a few people spectating in the comments purely because she was 3 years old, and they're like, who has memories from when they're 3? Some people genuinely do remember things from when they're 3 and 4 years old.
Yeah.
They do. I am not one of them. I think every once in a while I'll have a glimpse of a memory, maybe.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Something that vivid, though, probably would stick with you.
Yeah.
Also, maybe she could just be misremembering. She might just be a little older than she thinks she is, old enough to know, you know?
Just with the pacifier.
And it's just filling in 3, yeah.
Yep.
That's possible.
You know, some kids have pacifiers until they're like 6, 7... 6, 7. Or even a little bit older. I've seen. I had a teenage cousin, age of 16 and 17. She still sucked her thumb. So you never really know.
Right.
Okay, so my first picture. Are we ready?
Yes.
This is just a funeral home-ish.
That's interesting. That's
very
much for the shot, but it's cool.
Yeah, just a stock photo. They had like a whole photo shoot, tons of photos at the same setting, and I was like, well, I guess we'll go with this one.
Right.
And then this here, is a picture of a shadow of a hand reaching towards someone in a bed.
Great.
So I chose this one because it could represent them putting the pacifier on the bed next to the kid.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Neat.
Nice.
Cool story. I like that one.
Thank you.
B. C.
D.
E. F. All right, B. What do you got for us?
So, first I would like to apologize to Dalia.
Don't.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna cry again.
Brandon, my story has a lot of similarities to the second story that you read today.
No way.
But mine has a happy ending.
I mean, mine did too, technically, but like...
Mine has a happier ending.
Okay, cool.
So this is a comment on the post, and the original post said something along the lines of, I want to hear any of your heroic, out of the hospital, in public experiences. Commenter here goes on to say, I just did what I could. In between a college friend's wedding and the reception, we encountered a backup of traffic. The problem was you could zip along the country road, and then around the corner there were suddenly stopped cars. The double axle pickup truck 2 behind us couldn't stop fast enough. The driver had 2 options. 1, hit the next car. 2, swerve into the other single lane. He chose option 2 and hit the minivan head on. The husband got out of the passenger side and pulled his son with a broken forearm out. 10-year-old daughter in school uniform got herself out. Mom was not going anywhere. She was wedged beneath the seat and steering column. She was conscious and in pain. Not only was the dashboard pushed down on her, but the door was crumpled in and frozen. I was there in seconds, and others helped the passengers. Shit got serious when the hissing noise in the engine turned to active fire.
Ooh.
I have never seen paint on metal begin to burn. We were not going to watch this fully conscious woman die while staring at her fate. I'm not sure if it was the young nurse or former lifeguard in me that started shouting orders. Me and 2 guys from the truck began tugging on the driver's door. Doors are built in segments. To their credit, the truck guys cut their hands to shreds on the broken glass as we peeled the outer layer of door off. The fire was accelerating enough that people were backing up from the heat. I began shouting some orders. You, get that red cooler out of the back and run it to that house. Ask for a hose and fill it with water. You, help him carry it. You, over there, find any car with a jack or crowbar. People began dumping water bottles on the hood. It did absolutely nothing. We were not going to watch her go up in flames in front of her kids. We kept yanking and pulling at that door, and piece by fucking piece, it began to peel back. Once it was free, we folded it back and started to work on her. Seatbelt came off easy. She was phenomenally wedged underneath that dash. We pulled, she screamed, repeat, repeat, fire, repeat, fire, repeat. We made an agreement with her that we were going to yank her the fuck out of there no matter how bad it hurt. She agreed. The scary part is, no matter how strong you are, there is not purchase on soft flesh at that angle. One of us got behind her and bent the frame of the back seat, and we yanked her out of the flaming minivan on a sunny Saturday afternoon. Within a minute, the front windshield exploded in the fire. We had to shoulder drag her back from the vehicle 3 times. The crowd circle got wider and wider in the heat. The fire just rolled up the vehicle till it was fully engulfed. Ambulances arrived and took the kids. Medevac landed on the front lawn next to the road and took Mom. I didn't really do much to render aid other than try to outrun her death. I walked into the wedding reception 40 minutes late and explained why others would be straggling in. I hugged the bride and former nursing study partner and then went straight to the bar. I fucking needed that beer.
Damn right.
All survived. The fire was the most life-threatening piece. For Mom, her knee was in bad shape at the scene, but nothing independently lethal. Everyone walked away okay. They lived.
Hell yeah.
They all lived. Yeah. But that's their little hero story. The chance that they got to be someone's hero. Save some lives.
They did it completely correct. Because that's one thing that we get a lot of emergency training at my work and stuff for obvious reasons. But that is one thing they tell you is never assume just people are going to do things. You need to point at somebody and tell them to do something.
Yep.
Because humans on our own are not always built to know what to do. Nope. We're gonna panic. We're gonna freeze. But it's a lot easier if you have CPR is you call the police. It's so much easier. It takes accountability off of other people. We also have a tendency. People have a tendency to be somebody else will get to it if I don't. And that's just not the case. It's almost never the case because that person's thinking that too. So, I love that. I love that she did that. That's awesome.
This story was posted in a nursing forum, and the commenter is a healthcare professional.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I have a really sick picture that I think is going to lift up the mood.
Yeah.
I might have been a little toasted when looking for pictures and somehow ended up looking up
just this one.
yes actually. I started looking up monster fire truck because I was like, well, yeah, there's gonna be a fire truck rolling up. The fucking car exploded, and found this sick ass picture of this cool ass fire truck and went, that's the one I'm sharing.
What the fuck?
Just farting.
It's
fire.
Cool as fuck. Jet monster ride fire truck. That's what it said. That's so fucking cool.
It's farting fire.
That's what I just said.
I figured it was perfect to go with a heavier story. Mm-hmm. Something funny. But yes, everyone lived. Whoop! Whoop whoop.
Hell yeah.
That's what I got.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Who would like to do our little
Y'all
spiel?
got this.
Yeah, I don't think Dalia is prepared to do the little spiel.
All right. Well, you've done it twice, so I guess
okay,
I'll take it again.
Thank you so much.
You can find us on pretty much any social media site: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, but not Twitter because fuck Twitter.
Fuck Twitter. Sorry, I blanked. My brain went completely wiped. It was we're done, right?
You probably already know this because you're listening to us right now, but you can find us pretty much anywhere that you can listen to podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or YouTube Podcast. That's a thing. I didn't know. I just found that out. If you have any stories that you'd like to share with us, we would love the opportunity to read them for you guys. If they're paranormal stories, go ahead and rewind. I haven't told you where to send the fucking stories.
That might be helpful, yeah.
Our email is TPIBOTE@outlook.com. TPIBOTE@outlook.com. If you have any paranormal stories to share with us, go ahead and stick Dalia's name in the subject line for me. That's Dalia, no H. If they are wholesome, happy, funny, whatever, something to break the tension here, go ahead and stick my name in there. B. That's B-E-E. Buzz. Am I missing anything?
I think you're good.
We would appreciate a rate and review if you don't mind. You can do that on Facebook, Apple, Spotify. Can you rate on Spotify yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can.
Leave us a little comment. Let us know how we're doing. We would appreciate the feedback.
We absolutely would.
Mm-hmm. Now, am I missing anything?
No, you're all good to go.
No.
You're all good to lead us out.
All right, I'll pull us on out of here then. As always, we appreciate you guys hanging out and chilling with us for this little bit. Thank you for giving us that part of your day. And as always, this podcast was based on true events.